Hey guys, this is Haley and today I'm going to be doing a video on my Tourette's story. So some people requested that I do a video on my Tourette's, as a lot of people don't really know what Tourette's is, or if they've heard of it, they don't really understand it because they've never really been around it. So I thought I would just do this video and kind of explain to you guys my Tourette's story and just kind of how it affected my life and everything. So I did want to put a little disclaimer out there that in this video I'm going to try my hardest not to edit out my Tourette's and tics, just because I feel like over the past 5 years of being a YouTuber, I have gotten really used to just editing out my tics so that no one knows I have it, no one sees it, as it's something I've been embarrassed about a lot. And I feel like in this video and on this channel, I really need to be open with you guys and show you who I am, and part of that is my Tourette's and my tics. So I'm gonna try my hardest not to be embarrassed about it, or not be afraid to tic in front of the camera while I'm filming and stuff. So in this video I'm probably going to be leaving my tics in if I have it. So that's just as a disclaimer. If you see me doing weird faces, weird noises, that is what Tourette's is, and that's what this video is about. So to start off my story, you guys kind of saw a little bit of this in my Draw My Life video, which I will have linked down below or on the screen. And pretty much what started out was when I was fairly young. I don't know exactly the age, but I started having this really bad cough. It wasn't like a cough like from my lungs or like juicy or anything. It was just like this dry cough. My mom got really concerned, obviously, because it wouldn't go away no matter how hard we tried. We tried cough drops, allergy medication, we tried all sorts of things. So then of course we went to several doctors, got several asthma tests and allergy tests done. Everything came back negative. And so finally, once my mom caught me watching TV and videotaped me having which was probably a lot of tics at once. I forgot how many tics I had per minute, but it was too many for the doctor to count. My mom thought I was having seizures. So yeah, that's kind of how I got diagnosed. My mom showed the video to my doctor, and he diagnosed me with Tourette's. So when I got diagnosed with Tourette's, I really wasn't that embarrassed about it because the only thing I knew I was doing was coughing. I was fairly young. I was about 8 years old when I was diagnosed, and so far my coughing hadn't affected my life. No one really talked about it. No one made a big deal about it. But then I remember after being diagnosed, I just wouldn't stop coughing, and I know that my friends and my family, the people who didn't really understand what was going on, like younger kids, would always be like, stop it, knock it off, like why are you coughing, like just stop that, it's annoying. I remember I would be coughing in people's faces. I'd be making weird faces or weird gestures when I was coughing, and people were just laughing at me or like wondering what was wrong, and I didn't really understand it at the time to tell them. So pretty much how I dealt with that was I hid. I would avoid conversation. I would avoid questions about it. If they asked me, I would pretend I didn't hear them. I would avoid people who were very outspoken and would ask me about it. So obviously that was not a very good coping mechanism or anything. I guess that's kind of where I started becoming very insecure about my Tourette's and my tics. So in this video, I'm mostly going to be talking about my vocal tics, as those are the ones that have really affected me in my life the most. So I think coughing was a tic for several years, and it was the one that really annoyed me the most. I remember just at night not being able to swallow after coughing all day because the pain was just horrible. It's like when you're sick and you cough all the time. That's how my throat felt. It was just awful. Horrible pain. I remember like just wincing every time I swallowed because it just hurt so bad. So I guess a lot of people don't realize that Tourette's is very physical, and it does affect you pain-wise after ticking after all day. if you try doing a repetitive motion over and over and over and over and over and over and over all day long, you are going to experience pain from that motion. So I don't really remember when my coughing stopped, but I really don't struggle with that vocal tic anymore. And I think for a while I didn't really have many vocal tics. They kind of, the thing with Tourette's is it waxes and wanes. So what that means is sometimes it's very severe, sometimes it's almost non-existent. So eventually my coughing died down and I kind of replaced that vocal tic with another one, which was snorting. So coughing and snorting are both very common vocal tics for people to have. I remember the day I got it. I remember when it started, and I just remember not being able to stop and being very upset about it. And it just comes and goes. It's not like constant or anything, but it's definitely been one that was much more embarrassing than coughing, because coughing people would just assume that you were sick. And even though people would avoid me because they thought I was sick, at least it wasn't as embarrassing, I guess. So my snorting was extremely embarrassing. People were like, that's disgusting, why are you doing that? Like who's doing that noise? Why is someone doing that? And I remember a couple birthday parties that I went to where there was girls asking me, what's wrong? Like, why are you doing that? Why are you snorting? Like, that's weird. And then they would laugh at me. And I was terrified. Like, I mean, part of this was probably my anxiety. I was like, I'm not gonna tell them what's wrong. So I pretty much just avoided them. I really hated going to birthday parties because they were just so uncomfortable. I didn't know the girls there. They didn't know me. They didn't know that my snorting was normal. And so that was definitely hard for me when I was little. So my Tourette's kind of died down like around high school, I would say, probably around my sophomore year. I didn't really have much tics, and at that point I was kind of excited because some people, once they reach the age of 18, their tics will disappear and they won't have like many Tourette's anymore or many tics anymore. And so I kind of thought that's what was going to happen with me. But actually it was just a really good time in my life. I didn't have much anxiety during that time. And so then once I had some situation with my medication, my anxiety medication, and I was switching meds and getting off medication, and the increase in anxiety just triggered my Tourette's like crazy. And it was a very uncomfortable situation because I had moved to a completely different town. I was with a completely different group of people, and when they got to know me, they never saw my Tourette's. My Tourette's was very minimal. It was only when I was at home and after I'd watched a lot of TV or something that really set my Tourette's off, or when I was tired or something, or driving. So it was like no one ever really saw my Tourette's unless they really knew me and knew that I had it. So it was almost non-existent for a while. And then around my senior year of high school, I would say, my tics started coming back. It was mostly the summer after my senior year where they just skyrocketed because I was forced to get off my anxiety medication. And it was pretty crazy. I had a lot of vocal tics again. I had a ton of eye tics, a lot of blinking, twitching, neck like stuff, and it was to the point where everyone noticed it. Everyone at my church noticed it, and people came up to my mom and were like, you know, I've noticed Haley's been having a lot more tics recently. Like, it was obvious to everyone that my tics had really gotten bad again. So it was a very uncomfortable situation because all of my new acquaintances or friendships, I guess, they never really knew me when I had a lot of bad tics, and all of a sudden I just start ticking, and I think it really took them by surprise. I had some people question me like, did you just like snort? Like, are you making that noise? And then which is totally normal. I'm completely like, I understand why people would question why someone all of a sudden is making weird noises. But thankfully, since now that I'm older, I was able to say, yeah, sorry, I have tics. Like, and then they would just be like, oh, okay. Like, I think they felt awkward, I felt awkward, and it was just kind of like, okay. And I guess with the ultimate goal is not to feel awkward about your Tourette's because it's just part of who you are. But with someone who struggles a lot with anxiety and social anxiety, things like that are very difficult for me, and it's definitely something I have to work on and work through. So I guess it's a very uncomfortable situation for me. So currently with my Tourette's, I've been having a lot of vocal tics and a lot of eye tics and like movement. So I guess it has really impacted my life for the negative at the moment. I think it's because I am not really on a reliable anxiety medication right now. And anxiety can trigger Tourette's, just like stress can trigger it. There's many different triggers that can trigger it, and then there's also just times where you're just gonna have tics. But definitely the increase in anxiety has set them off. A lot of the times when I go into like a store or I'm out in public, I'll get very anxious, and because I'm anxious I'll start ticking, and then because I'm ticking I get more anxious, and then I start ticking more, and then it just becomes to the point where I can barely function, I can barely see, I can barely concentrate. So it's definitely been difficult to go places on my own. I'm also to the point where I am not currently driving because of my Tourette's. I think it's because, again, driving is a little bit, makes me anxious, but also driving has always triggered my Tourette's. Ever since I was 16 and got my driver's license, or 15 and a half or whenever when I started driving, I was scared of driving because it made me tic. A lot of people find that driving makes them calmer, like it doesn't affect their Tourette's at all and they actually don't have tics when they drive. I have the opposite. My Tourette's like skyrockets when I drive, and it's to the point where I'm not driving on my own at the moment. I definitely am making it a goal to drive again because it's really hard going like 2 years being very independent and driving, and then all of a sudden bam, like you can't drive. And the reason I can't drive is that when I start driving, I don't know if it's the anxiety or the tics that start first, but I have a lot of eye tics. Like I'll blink, or I'll have to look out of the corners of my eyes, and because of that, it causes me to like sometimes close my eyes for too long of a time that is safe, or it causes me to like have my head whip around and stuff, and because of that it causes me to swerve or drive off onto the shoulder. There have been times where I thought I was gonna go in the ditch, and you know, that's just really not safe to me or other drivers around me. And so until I can get it under control, I really don't feel comfortable driving very often. I can drive about 25-30 minutes, but it is a struggle for me. It gets to the point where I'm ticking almost like constantly, and so it's like I do a tic and I like try to look at the road, and then I do another one and try to look at the road, and it's just, it really makes me anxious, and it's caused me to have panic attacks, tic attacks, and all that stuff. So yeah, I guess driving has been very affected by my Tourette's. Probably the major things right now that I'm struggling with. So that's pretty much it for my Tourette's story. I just kind of covered little bits and pieces of my life and just tried to cover like what it's like to live with Tourette's, I guess. But I know there's definitely a lot more things that I could be sharing. So if you guys would like to see any more informational videos about Tourette's, or videos about how to cope with Tourette's, or like how-tos and stuff, I would be happy to make those, and I bet it would be really fun and really informational for those of you out there who struggle with Tourette's. And I also want you guys to comment down below if any of you guys struggle with Tourette's, because I think it would just be really cool and interesting to know how many of my followers have Tourette's or struggle with tics or anything. I just think that would be a really cool thing just to know for me to know and for others to know that we are not alone. There are many people with Tourette's and tics, and so I think that would be really cool. So don't be shy, leave a comment down below letting us know, or letting me know if you have Tourette's or have struggled with tics. And if you have any further questions about Tourette's, either like how I personally struggled with Tourette's or how I personally deal with it, or either just general questions about it, don't be afraid to leave a question down below. I love reading your questions and comments. So that's pretty much it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and comment down below anything you'd like. And also don't forget to share this video with your friends. Also, if you want to keep up to date with me, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. This will just help you know when I upload a video, and it also helps support my channel. I also will have links down below to my Twitter and my Instagram account so that you guys can follow me there. So that's pretty much it for this video, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys soon on a new video. Bye!